That's good. See if they come on to you. To go to the phone. Okay, here we go. Showtime. You can't see me, right? Nope, you're not on camera. So. Just me. Okay. Good afternoon. Who's joined me? No, I don't think you have. All right, I've got a couple of other people joining us today to learn more about getting into real estate. Let me turn up my volume. So let me turn up my volume and we will get started. All right. So this is either Ilana, Tiffany, or Dominique online with me. All right. Well, I'm going to get started. And if anybody joins us, they'll just have to jump in and we'll get started because I want to honor the time in which you made to come and learn more about getting into real estate. So my name is Kristen Van Vorst. I am with Keller Williams, Kansas City Metro, and I am the productivity coach here. And what that means is I run two different programs. I run a coaching program for experienced agents in which we do business coaching with them. And then I run the new agent training and coaching program. It's a 12-month program, and all new agents that join our office go into the new agent training and coaching program. And I partner you with your own coach for those first 12 months. So you've got somebody beside you the whole time while you're getting started in building this new real estate company. So what I want to be able to share today is what it takes to get your license in the Kansas City area. And also I want to share what it takes to get started in this industry. So if you're okay, I'm going to get started. I'm sharing screen right now and we will get into the details. So I'm always curious why people are interested in real estate. I know some people have bought and sold properties and they've decided, hey, I could do that. Some people are looking at ways of being self-employed and having their own career, their own business. This is an entrepreneurial business, and I'll get more into that here in a minute. Let me just double check that my volume is good. Okay. All right. So let's talk about myths about real estate agents because a lot of people don't know what we do for a living. Actually, if you watch HGTV, I'm going to burst your bubble and tell you none of that's real. Especially programs like House Hunters. We've actually had agents in our office participate in that program, and it's all staged. The buyers actually already bought their house before they record that episode. So let's talk about becoming an agent and some of the myths about that. And I got to make sure that it's not staying on that screen. So we'll just do it this way. So myths about real estate. One, real estate agents receive a salary. No, this is 100% commission. So if you've never been self-employed before, or you've never been on commission, it's going to be really important that you understand what that looks like and how that impacts you, especially when you're first getting started. Myth number two about real estate is agents receive a large commission on each and every sale, and they make tons of money for a small amount of work. Well, Yes, you can make really good income in real estate. And yes, you could sell an expensive property and make a really large commission. However, that's not the case on every sale that you have. And we work really hard. Matter of fact, I will tell you, I believe that most people wouldn't do what we do for a living if they knew how hard we work. So I like to be very honest. You're going to find that I'm going to be very honest and blunt in our conversation today, so that you have a really good idea of what it would look like to be a real estate agent. I'm not going to try to talk you into this. I'm not going to try to persuade you, because this is not a career for everyone. So I'm just going to give you good factual information so you can make the decision whether it's the fit for you and you'd want to move forward. So myth number 3 is agents do not have many overhead expenses. We don't. This is actually, I debunk this. You do have startup costs. So getting your license and all of that, and the professional organizations that you're going to be required to join, all of that. Yeah, it's going to cost you money. Actually, it's going to cost you to get licensed in both Kansas and Missouri. You want to get both because we live in a metropolitan area that straddles the state line. It's just in the beginning, you have to get them one at a time. And so to join and become an agent in Kansas and Missouri, and then there are 3 professional organizations that you're going to be required to join within your first 30 days of getting licensed with your first license. It's going to cost you, the maximum to do all of that, to get a Kansas, Missouri license and join those 3 professional organizations. Your startup costs are going to be about between $2,200 and $2,300. So I just want people to know that you're going to come out of pocket to get this real estate license. Okay. And then myth number 4 is real estate is a loosely regulated industry. Well, that's not true. Matter of fact, you have to, in order to get into real estate, you have to get licensed. You have to be legally licensed, and we have to learn and abide by rules, regulations, and laws. And if you don't follow those laws and rules, you can get your license suspended, you can get it revoked, you can get fined, all of that. So that's another myth about real estate, is that, oh, you can do whatever you want. Not so true. Matter of fact, here's the thing that most people don't understand is we're helping buyers and sellers through a legal transaction when buying and selling, and we're handling and filling out legal documents. So that can, if you mess up as a new person, you can get yourself in trouble. You can get your clients in trouble. Myth number 5 about being a real estate agent is that all agents are the same. They all are the same and they offer the same services. That's not true. There are agents in this business that do this part-time, people who do this full-time, people who just do it to buy their own investment properties. So there's a wide range out there. But that's what I love about real estate is, you know what? You don't have to have a certain personality. You don't have to have a certain background or education to be successful in this business. It's actually about your motivation and drive that you bring to this new career. That's where the success is really tied. We do all the training and coaching and give you the resources and support in our new agent training program. However, you have to bring the drive and the motivation, and that's what makes you successful. And then you decide what level of client experience you're going to be providing your buyers and sellers. So those are the myths about real estate that a lot of people do not understand, and when they're looking from the outside into our industry. The next is, let's go through the requirements of getting your real estate license. And the requirements are this. The requirements are, to become an agent, you have 4 requirements, licensing requirements that the State Real Estate Commission requires of you. The first is you have 2 courses you have to take. There is a pre-exam principles course, which is the first one. And then the second course you're required to take is called a practice course. Then you also have to submit fingerprints for a background check, and then you must take and pass a real estate exam. So I find that most people can get those 4 requirements done in 4 to 6 weeks, especially if they take their classes in person. So let's talk about where can you take these required licensing classes, because you have to take it from an accredited licensing school. And I'm really picky. And I'm going to tell you, I only recommend 2 schools. I know you can go on Google. I know you can find hundreds, especially of online schools. However, I'll tell you that you could be wasting your money, because a lot of those will teach you more than you ever need to know for the exam. And they're not going to really help you pass the exam. And the real estate exam is hard. It's not an easy exam. Matter of fact, many people don't pass it the first time they take it. So I truly believe where you take, especially the first class, that pre-exam principle class, is so crucial to your success to getting licensed, because it's really about passing that exam. So we have our own real estate school. It's called Key Real Estate School. And I will send you all an email after this webinar, and it'll have links to our real estate school, Key Real Estate School, and then the other one I recommend. I'll have a link to their website. You can click on that. You can see the class schedules. You can see the costs and all of that. Our real estate school, Key Real Estate School, we offer the 2 required classes once a month, and we offer them back to back over 9 business days. It's usually the first 2 weeks of the month. They are full days. They are from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And so if you can't do daytime classes, maybe take that much time off of work or what have you, or your work schedule is not that flexible, then the other school I recommend is Career Education Systems. And they have evening classes, and they are the only school I recommend for online. And here's the thing, there is little to no difference between our 2 schools. We use the same training materials, we use the same textbooks. The real difference is classroom size. We're a small school. We never take more than 6 to 8 students a month. They're a large school, they'll take 30 to 70 in a classroom. So we find that quite a few people are really drawn to our small classroom sizes, because you get a lot more one-on-one attention with our instructor than you do in a big class. And that's not good or bad, it's just reality. And then there is a little bit of a price difference. I think we're a little bit less expensive by maybe under $50. But I feel very confident that either school will prepare you well for the exam so that you can pass it and not just waste money and keep taking it over and over. So I will give you this tip on the fingerprints. I highly recommend that you send off those fingerprints while you're in your classes and send it off for that background check, because both Kansas and Missouri, when you do background checks with them, they could be backed up because they're doing background checks on more than just potential real estate agents, right? And so sometimes they can be backlogged, and that could add a couple of weeks, or the most I've ever had it take is 6 weeks for a background check. So get that done early. In the email that I'm going to send you, there's going to be a booklet attached. And in that booklet, I have everything itemized by cost, like how much it costs to take the exam, how much for your license application, the average cost for the classes. And then I've got information on the fingerprinting and then the testing centers of where you go. So basically, the way I have it outlined here is how you ideally want to do it. You want to take the first course and then send off your fingerprints and then take your exam, because the content for the exam is in the first class. The second class, that practice class, none of that content is on the exam. So I want to make sure that you're kind of doing it in the way that you should be doing it. So get that exam scheduled while you still have the content in your head before it all falls out. Okay, let's keep going. Let's talk about, I told you the professional dues. There is our trade association, Kansas City Regional Association of Realtors. That is a requirement to be an active agent in the Kansas City area. Whether you go with our real estate brokerage or another, it is a requirement. So is being a member of Heartland Multiple Listing System. The MLS is our giant real estate database that where we get all that secret sauce information that consumers can't access. And then the last thing is the last professional dues that you have to pay is for a super e-key. I don't know if you've ever noticed on houses for sale in Kansas City, but the majority of them have a gray blue cylinder lockbox to them. Those lockboxes are Bluetooth enabled. And we get an app that we put on our phone from Supra. That's what the e-key is. It's an app. And then that allows our phones to send a Bluetooth signal to those lock boxes. And what that does is that pops open a metal pocket in the bottom, and that's where we hide the front door keys. So if you've ever wondered how do real estate agents get in and out of houses for sale, that's how we do it. When you join those three organizations, that's going to be your largest one-time lump sum of your startup costs. And it's not one time because these are ongoing costs. For our trade association, KCRAR, you pay dues yearly. For Heartland MLS, you pay them quarterly. And for the Super Key, you pay monthly. So that amount for those three that you join within 30 days of getting your real estate license is going to be just a hair over $1,000. Again, in my email, I'll have that booklet attached. It's going to go line by line on all of these items and show you the specific costs for them. Okay. Here's the information on the real estate schools, ours, Key Real Estate School, and then Career Education Systems. And I'll have the links in my email for you all. Like I said, you can Google and find a zillion online schools, but I want to save you from wasting your money. These are the only two schools I'm going to recommend. They have a very good track record of passing rates for their students. Matter of fact, our real estate school has about a 72% passing rate of our students that take the exam. So, and in Missouri, the average, the statewide average of passing for first-time takers is right about 50%. So there's a difference on where you get your courses done. Okay. Well, okay, so I've shared with you what the startup cost, the licensing requirements are, and all of that. Now I want to get into the meat of what does it look like to get started in this career into real estate. And I will tell you, it is different probably than most of the jobs you've had before. Because like I mentioned before, this is 100% commission and you will become self-employed. Here's what the catch is, though, is that when you're brand new, the real estate commission will not allow you to go start your own real estate company. Actually, they are going to require that you be supervised under the umbrella of a real estate brokerage for no less than your first 2 years of real estate. And here's why. I kind of mentioned it earlier. Well, they know you're new and dangerous, right? And you're helping people through a legal transaction, and you're handling legal contracts, and you're actually filling them out. And if you as a new person screw up and do something wrong on that contract, you can get yourself in trouble, you can get your client in trouble, you can get your brokerage in trouble. So it's really important that you understand that you have to be supervised. And that's why you're not going to be able to send off your real estate application after you finish those 4 requirements of the 2 courses, fingerprints, and passing the exam, until you find the real estate office you're going to join, because every real estate office has a supervising broker who oversees the legal activity of that office and their agents, and they have to sign off on your application saying, yes, we will take this new person and supervise them. So there's a lot more to it than most people think when you get started, right? So I like to be very honest and real with you when we talk about getting started in real estate. Like I mentioned before, I'm not going to fluff this up. I'm not going to glamorize it. I hope to give you good factual information so that you can make a really good decision whether this is going to be a fit for you. So I literally share the good, the bad, and the ugly of getting started in real estate, if you're okay with that. So I start with the ugly first because shouldn't we get through that first and then go to the good? So the ugly fact of real estate is this. According to our National Association of Realtors, over 80% of new agents drop out of real estate within their first 24 months. That sounds horrible, doesn't it? It's an awful statistic. Well, yes. However, I want you to realize that in the United States, 80% of all new small business startups, they fail in their first 24 months. So we're entrepreneurial based and we're 100% commission. And if you can't make money, then you probably can't stay in the business, right? So that's the bad. That's the ugly, actually. Again, I'm not going to fluff this up for you because I want you to know what it looks like so you can prepare yourself to succeed in this new business if this is the path you decide to take. So here's the good news. What causes the high dropout rate? I can tell you that. So you're not part of that 80%. And basically it's two things. One, lack of money. Two, a lack of training. Let me dive a little deeper so you can have a better perspective. Let's talk about this lack of money. I know you can go online. You can find out what the 4 requirements are to getting licensed. You can also go and find schools available. However, I will tell you the one thing that's almost impossible to find online are the 3 professional organizations that you have to join that is just right at $1,000. And so a lot of people don't know about that because they don't get an opportunity to talk with someone like me who's going to tell them what all of the startup costs are so that there are no hidden costs for them. And they go ahead and get in school, they pass the exam, they're ready to get their license, and then they hear they have to pay another extra $1,000 to get going. And for some people, unfortunately, that $1,000 is their barrier to moving forward. That's a bad money surprise, right? The other reason when I say lack of money, that new agents drop out at such a horrible rate is most people don't understand how and when we make money in real estate. So when we work with a buyer and when we work with a seller, we as real estate agents don't make a dime until that client closes on a house. So on average, the minimum time we spend with a buyer or a seller, minimum, is 60 to 90 days before they would close on a house and we would get paid. Actually, that's why when people say, I love watching HGTV, I laugh a little to myself and think, oh, but that's not real. If you watch, I was actually watching House Hunters International last night because I love seeing houses and apartments in other countries. And this episode last night was on Thailand, and oh my gosh, they're gorgeous places. But that's not real life. That's not how this works in our world at all. Matter of fact, when we're showing a buyer a house, we don't know if it's going to take us 2 weeks or 6 months to find them a house. And that whole time that we're showing them houses, well, that looks like a fun activity. It's not if you're showing them houses for 6 months and you're making no money because they're paying you nothing. So I want you to really understand that there's a high likelihood that you in the beginning of your real estate career are not going to make any money, at least for 3 to 4 months. And it may be 6 months before you make any money. Now, I don't want you to misunderstand that it's not that you won't make money in your first year. It's just in the beginning, we have this sales cycle of a minimum of 60 to 90 days. So it's harder to make it happen any sooner. And so I want you really aware of that. And that's where I tell people, if you want to come into real estate and make this your career and go full time, and you're going to have a minimum of 6 months of living expenses set aside. Or you're going to have support at home, that someone else is the bread earner and can support you in this first year. Or you're going to have to do what the majority of our new agents do, and that is to have a part-time or, okay, thank you. I will let some, oh, I tried to let him in again. Thank you. Or you're going to have to have a part-time or full-time job. Does that make sense? Let's make sure that Eric got in. I've got Eric in twice. So Eric, I hope you can hear us. Okay, good deal. So that lack of money, it's important to know that you're not going to make money right away. This is not a get rich quick industry. It's not. And like I said, you have the opportunity to make money your first year. What's going to be challenging is to make steady money in that first year. So I want to prepare you to let you know so that you can do what you need to do financially to get through those first year. And you're thinking, why would I do this? But here's why. You can, if you work really hard, because all of this is tied to hard work. I won't ever lie about that. We work hard as real estate agents. We just make it look easy. And this is the thing. If you work really hard, you can start making good money in a much shorter period of time than you could in probably almost any other career, especially a salary career. So I tell people there is a good possibility with hard work and you really plugging into what we know works, that you could be making by probably the end of your second year, 6 figures, especially if you're doing this full time. But it's not going to be easy, but you can accelerate the amount that you're making much faster in real estate if you can get through that first year and portion of the second year. I hope that makes sense for you guys. And then the other reason people drop out at such a high rate is lack of training. I wish I could tell you that you can go to any real estate company and you get fabulous training. If I did, I'd be fibbing. I don't know why. I've been licensed for 20 years and I don't know why, but from my perspective, we treat new people terribly coming into this business. One, we glamorize it. We don't tell you the hard facts. Don't tell you the ugly fact. We don't prepare you to come into this. And then to top it off, you get your license and then you get a teeny tiny bit about a training. I call that the sink or swim plan. I don't know how you're expected to enter 100% commission industry with no training, no guidance, or very, very little. And that's how our industry has been for many, many years. I don't know why. Doesn't make sense. I think it's kind of cruel. And that's where we are so different as an office and as a company, because training's our thing. If you Google Keller Williams in any depth whatsoever, you're going to find a repetitive theme. And that theme is going to talk all about coaching and training, coaching and training. It's our thing. It's what we're most famous for, even though we're the #1 real estate franchise in the world. But it is because of the training that we offer. And while we focus a lot on the new agent training, we have training for every step of your career. Whether you want to keep it small and be a solo practitioner your whole career, or you want to build a team or a ginormous team, we have training for all of that. And that's what makes us different. You shouldn't have to be trying to figure this out yourself. Time is of the essence, and what will happen if you're trying to figure this out on yourself and you've been put on the sink or swim plan is you're going to get frustrated and you're going to run out of money, and then we'll lose you. So I don't think that's a success plan. That's why, like I said, we are so different. Actually, I like to say we're not ordinary. One of our main pillars is education and training. Also, we put a big emphasis on marketing, but not marketing our company, helping you market yourself and your business. And then technology. We're one of the very few national real estate companies that own the majority of their technology. Most real estate is not cutting edge when it comes to technology. I'm just going to be honest. We're not. We're a little bit of a dinosaur. And so most of us use third parties for our technology. We don't. We try to develop and own all of our own technology, and we actually go out and buy companies that have what we need. So that makes a difference. And then our culture is so different. Um, it is a purposeful culture. It's a culture of sharing, supporting. And so that comes through in what kind of company we are. This is what I wanted to share with you today. I hope that you found this helpful. Does anyone have a question before I tell you what next steps would be? Any questions? No questions? Okay. So here's our next step. I'm going to send you this email. I want you to look through the email, look through the booklet that'll be attached. Come back to me with any questions. Oh, I see a question. Hold on. Question. Yes. Eric, you have a question? He's typing a question, no worries. So while he's typing, I'll send you this email, go through it, come back to me with any questions. I hope you can tell I'm a straight shooter. I want you just to have good factual information so that if you decide to go on this journey to become a real estate agent, you're going to have facts, and that'll set you up for success much better than the sink or swim plan or the not having enough information. And then if you need any assistance, if you decide this is the path you want to take and you want any assistance in getting enrolled in class, I can definitely help with that. And then if you get enrolled in class, then I'd want to set up a one-on-one meeting with you in person because there's additional information I share with you at that time that you need to know. Okay. I see that. I see that, Eric. Okay. Is it possible to convert? I'm copying your email right now, Eric, so that I have that. Is it possible to do this part-time and then convert full-time once I start my career? Great question, Eric. Yes. Matter of fact, I shared that the majority of our new agents are what I call dual career agents. They're either working a part-time or full-time job while starting their real estate business. Now, is it a little bit harder? Yes, and that's why you have to have a plan. We actually sit down with our dual career agents and help them come up with a transition plan. This is not the business that if you want to transition into full time that you can just try it. You've got to be purposeful as a part-time agent. You've got to, I'm going to be honest, I think you have to be able to invest no less than 15 to 20 hours a week in real estate to be able to make that transition if you want to do it sooner than later. Our business is built on momentum, and I tell people the faster you go and hit the ground running, the faster your business will grow. Because remember, we have that kind of lag time. Even if you get your first client on day one, you're still 60 to 90 days out before you would even get a paycheck at the bare minimum. So yes, this can be done. I've had part-time agents be very successful in transitioning in. We work with you to create that plan because without a plan, then the likelihood is probably kind of the 80% dropout rate. So does that help, Eric? again, I will be sending the email. Please go over. Even with training, I don't think I can do the actual class part unless you said that it's spread out over 9 days. So if I know, because you work for Union Pacific, your schedules can be crazy, right? So you can split that apart. Matter of fact, I'll give you this little helpful hint. The most important class to take in person is the first class. It's 30-hour class in Kansas. It's 48 hours in Missouri. And it is about 5 days and actually 6 days. So if you can take that portion in person, that would be ideal. And then you can take the second class online, because remember what I said, none of the content in the second required course is on the exam, and it's much easier material. So if you can do that, otherwise there's the online option through the career education systems, the only school I recommend. And it's a little bit harder. However, what we do to help our online students, we actually have a once a month practice exam class in which you can take a practice exam and have our instructor help you with the areas that you struggle with, because that's the downside of online. You don't have someone to ask immediate questions and get clarity right then and there when you're reading the material. So I hope that helps, Eric. And don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'll send you the email. It'll have my contact information. And I hope I get to hear from you all very soon. So thanks for joining me today. Hope I gave you enough time to go grab some lunch if you're on your lunch break. And again, like I said, I hope I get to hear from you soon. Thanks and take care.